talk to you today about one reason why it is so hard to stop defending yourself. The reason that it's so easy to defend yourself is because you want someone else to validate you. You don't believe that your validation, and sometimes even the Lord's validation, is enough. I had this revelation this morning. I was talking to my daughter. She was complaining that some boys at school had been harassing her about carrying a pocket knife, which is a very normal thing for an Alaskan girl to do. And so I was saying, like, well, why would you let that bother you? Like, it's okay with us. It's okay with your teacher at this class that you're going to. So what difference does it make if they're harassing you? Or if they don't think you should be carrying a pocket knife? Like, why are you letting it bother you? And she was saying she didn't know. I was encouraging her to, think about it, because those places where you think you shouldn't be doing something, there's a reason. Like, the enemy is telling you, you need those people to like you, you need their validation. They're going to get you in trouble. Like, who knows what the enemy is telling you, but that's part of your job as a maturing believer, is to learn to listen to the enemy and see what he's telling you. So as I continued to talk to her about it, I was like, because she's like, oh, well, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to them and say, I have permission to carry a knife. I was like, but you don't need to do that. Like, why? What's the drive to do that? The drive to do that would be, I need to convince you that I'm right. I need to convince you that it's okay for me to have this, instead of just knowing for myself that it's okay for me to have this and that this is appropriate. And so as I'm saying this to her, the Lord gives me this Holy Spirit nudge of like, are you listening? Are you listening to this? Because I've been struggling with choices that I've made that I feel like, I need to figure out how to explain it to this person, or I need to figure out how to explain it to that person. And realizing it's that same drive that my daughter is having of like, I need to figure out how to explain it to them so they'll stop harassing me, so that they'll understand it's okay. And on the childhood level, it's like, you just don't give them a reaction and they're going to get bored and think of something else to do. And for myself, realizing, oh, but it's still that same thought pattern of, I need to win them over to my way of thinking for it to be okay, instead of, like, I've sat with the Lord, I've prayed about it over and over and over again, and this is what I feel like he's saying to do. And if that's the case, it doesn't matter if anyone understands that. I don't need anyone else won over to my side for me to do what the Lord has said to do, and to just not worry about what other people think. But realizing, like, oh, just like she was wanting that outside validation instead of just standing in that confidence herself, I have been looking for that outside validation, for somebody else to say, yeah, I think that's a good path. I think that's a good choice for you to make. And recognizing, right, I don't need that. And that's something I've been reflecting on as I'm working on a video called Don't Wear Saul's Armor, from the Bible story where David said, I'll take out Goliath. And the king was like, well, I don't think that's a good idea, but if you're going to, like, at least wear my armor, take my weapons. And David tried that and was like, this ain't gonna work. And so the Lord's been speaking to me about that, of sometimes we have mentors, or in my case, business coaches, or even ministry leaders and things that are like, well, okay, if you're going to do this, then this is the way to do it. Here's my armor. Here's my tools. This is what worked for me. So this is what you need. And that's not always true. And like David, at the time that he went up against Goliath, he knew how to use a sling and a shepherd's staff. So that's what he took into the battle, was his shepherd's staff and his sling. For his role of becoming king, he did eventually learn to use armor and a sword, but it was armor that fit him, and it was his sword, and he was, trained into that. So the Lord speaking that to me of like, what's in your hand right now, to use that. And then like there might be other things they'll be trained into, but it's not about pleasing people. It's not about wearing someone else's armor. It's not about fitting what anybody else says I need to do. If the Lord is saying, this is your path, then that can be my path, whether anybody else understands it or not. So my encouragement for you would be to look at those places that you're trying to people please, or that you're tempted to defend yourself, and the choices that you're making. What are the fears or the lies that the enemy is whispering you will have? Like, what's he predicting will be the outcome if people don't understand or don't believe you? And you can't persuade them to come to your side. Like, what's the threat, I guess, that the enemy is? That's that picture that he's painting, and realizing like it doesn't matter. So I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments if you can relate to like being a people pleaser and trying to do something the way someone else has said, or just what the Lord is speaking to you right now.